It's the final game of Week 20 and the final regular season game for the Lions. And hello, Vernon Adams Jr. He'll be back under center tonight with the Alouettes in town. BC hoping to turn things around, gain a little momentum with the playoffs just around the corner. VA making his first start in over 11 weeks since August the 1st, and the Lions are hoping he can regain his early MOP season form as they look to wrap up their regular season with a win. Despite locking up the East title a few weeks ago, it's still all systems go for the Owls. The reigning Grey Cup MVP, Cody Fajardo, gets the nod tonight, his first game since the birth of his son last week. Week 20, the final game of this Week 20 and the second game of our doubleheader as we welcome you here inside the TSN studio. Laura Dyken alongside Enoch Mwamba, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stiegel. So the finale for this week features two teams that will be in the playoffs, both locked into their spots. We know Montreal has won the East Division. BC locked into that third spot there, needing a spark. We can all agree on that. Yes, I know. They've lost 3 of their last 4, Milt, and turning now to Vernon Adams Jr.
Yeah, and I think Vernon, as long as he plays well, he doesn't have to kill it today, but just play well enough, and he'll be their starter come their playoff game. You know, this team has really struggled. They're counting on these guys to go out there and put themselves in a great position because they're hosting the playoffs. I mean, they're hosting a Grey Cup. And this owner has put out a lot for this team to get in this position. So Vernon needs to just go out there and play well, and he'll be the starting quarterback when they have their first playoff.
I'm excited to see Milt Vernon come back at the helm. You know, he was 5-3 as a starter this season, and I've been in the locker room with Vernon Adams. He's a guy that can rally the troops. It is a huge game. I don't think people realize how huge this game is for them, because if they don't win this game, there's going to be a lot of confusion over there in that locker room, especially Rick Campbell.
Yeah, you know, I think there's a lot of confusion not only on that side of the football, but on the defensive side of football. They got to stop somebody, you know, and quarterback needs football in order to do something with it. And I'm excited, like everybody else, see VA come back and see what the jump that he's having to step. But really, Ryan Phillips' defense got to really get together as well.
We know Montreal, best road team in the CFL, but they haven't had a lot of luck in BC. The last time they won there was 2015. They've lost their last 5 games at BC Place. All eyes, though, will be on Vernon Adams Jr. Perfect 2-0 in his career against Montreal. Kickoff is next.
Come right back.
It's a cold and gloomy day in Vancouver, which accurately describes both the forecast and the second half of the BC Lions season. The first place Alouettes roll into town, just 1 road loss so far this year. BC making a quarterback change, trying to find some momentum heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, 79 days since Vernon Adams has started, but he gets the start tonight. You remember when he started the season, his first 6 games, the BC Lions won 5 of them, and he was averaging well over 300 yards per game passing. He gets the start for BC tonight, and he's going to have to deal with one of the best defensive players, if not the best, in the Canadian Football League, and Tyrese Beverette, who leads all defenders in defensive plays with 128.
He is having an absolutely incredible season. Jason Moss, 12-3-1 so far on the year, 6-1-1 versus the West, 6-1-1 on the road. Rick Campbell, good in his career against Montreal, 15-8, 3-4 versus the East this year. They will play Saskatchewan or Winnipeg in the West semifinal. That will be determined in the final week of the season. Final game of the regular season for the BC Lions as they look to get their game on track. Season started with a lot of hope and a lot of success. Fallen off the rails recently. They'll try to get it back and get hot at just the right time. Montreal, a dozen wins already on the season. If they can pick up a road win today, it would set a franchise record for the season. And we are underway at BC Place. Thank you very much for joining us. Short kick here. It's going to drop out of bounds and a flag immediately to start this football game.
Yeah, punitive. That's going to be very good field position for Vernon Adams in his first start in a long time.
Montreal. First down, BC.
Rick Campbell was very clear that this was not necessarily because Nathan Rourke was the reason for the struggles of the BC Lions, but he wanted to see if the return of Vernon Adams to the starting lineup would give this offense a spark.
His last start, they roll into Winnipeg. He's the runaway leader in the MOP conversation. He gets hurt, and the season has fallen apart since. VA gets the ball back today. We'll see what he can do for this offense. They start on their own 50. A deep shot immediately down the field. Holding just inside the 20. How about starting it with a bang into the hands of Justin McInnes?
Well, that's a great way to start if you're Vernon Adams. Is Justin McInnes, who had a ton of targets, over 10 on average when Vernon Adams was starting. They go right to Justin McInnes, and he makes a great catch with coverage all over him from Marc-Antoine Dequoy, the safety.
43 yards to McInnes.
What a catch.
What a way to start this game inside the red zone for the first time today. Adams bouncing around the pocket, sends one to the corner, and that is incomplete. No flags on the play. He was looking for Eberhardt, who was looking for a flag, but not going to get it.
Yeah, Lorenzo Burns, the rookie, was in coverage on the outside there. This was Eberhardt right inside of the number 2 receiver. He's almost offside, has to restart. And I think Vernon Adams just trying to throw this out the back of the end zone. That was, to me, a no call just because it wasn't catchable. A little bit of push and shoving going on, but that ball was out of the back of the end zone.
Red zone struggles for the Lions so far this season. Can they change that here? Alouettes are going to bring a little bit of pressure. VA feels it, dumps it off, and that's down inside the 5 for a first down into the hands of Keon Hatcher.
Wow, how'd he get it in there? I mean, that was a risky throw with the pressure around Vernon Adams starting to collapse that pocket. A little bit of pressure off the edge that was delayed for a second, and that was the second that he needed to get it to Hatcher. And he fits it in a tight window.
BC Lions offense hit and miss recently. This place will erupt if they can punch one in just a couple minutes into the football game. First and goal from the Montreal 3 for Adams. Dumps it off to his running back, trying to push it ahead. Alouettes defense holds strong against Stanback.
Jarrell Broxton and Kent Perkins have to have a big game here tonight and will have to play well in the playoffs for this team to be successful, especially up against Eddie Emma Berglund for the Montreal Alouettes. He's having an outstanding season. And there's a receiving core, 2,000-yard guys. William Stanback and Justin McInnes leading the league in receptions, has a big one already tonight.
Yeah, that puts him over 1,400 yards on the season. Second and goal for the Montreal 2. Vernon Adams will look to do it himself. Touchdown BC. Adams gets home. He's fired up. Lions lead.
Vernon Adams has been such a great pro throughout this process, trying to do everything he can to support Nathan Rourke as he started. Had some ups and downs from that position, clearly, but can't script a better start from the coaching staff for sure for Vernon Adams to sling it deep in the very first play to Justin McInnis.
We probably shouldn't have been surprised by that, considering their connection prior to his injury. Adams and McInnis were lighting the league on fire. Sean White out for one more for the Lions to make it a 7-0 lead here just 3 minutes in. That is up, that is through. And great start for the home side. A 5-play, 60-yard drive that took less than 3 minutes, and it's finished by QB1.
Football game of inches, game of split seconds. Vernon Adams on the very first play goes 43 yards to Justin McInnis as he's being hit from the pressure from the Montreal Alouettes. That gets a 5-play, 60-yard drive going. Took 2:46 in that 43-yard play. What a start for Vernon Adams.
And considering it's been over 70 days since he's had the start, to go out and do that on your first drive must just boost. Not that he's lacking in confidence, but it must just make him feel so good.
No question. Recognizing the blitz, knowing he couldn't block it, and getting into his deep receiver.
Fletcher on the return. A nice burst just outside the 35 before the tackle is made. And there's a look at Cody Fajardo.
Did not start last week versus Ottawa. A win for the Alouettes. They're 12th on this season, but Fajardo will start. How much he plays, still a little bit up in the air. Jason Moss said we will see Davis Alexander in this one as well. Both these teams cannot improve their playoff position. The Lions are going to be third in the West, and the Montreal Alouettes first in the East Division.
Following up a Grey Cup season with an outstanding regular season as well. And they hope to be back here in mid-November for the Grey Cup. Chance to defend. Hand it off here to Thomas Erlington. A short pickup on first down for this Montreal offense.
Most consistent up front's been Pierre-Olivier Lestage, who's played that left guard position at an all-star level all season long. And we won't see Walter Fletcher in the backfield. The chance for Jason Moss to get some more playing time for Sean Thomas Erlington. We will see Fletcher back in the playoff game.
Just a couple of yards on that first down, so it's a 2nd and 8 for Fajardo. 3 options out to his right. There's a flag as he throws, and that is close to the first down marker as he goes to Cole Speaker for the first time today.
See what this flag is. Talking to both coaches.
Offside. Montreal number 85. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Both these coaches, you know, had a chance or have a chance here to basically rest some players if they wanted to, and both really didn't want to. There's their receiver at the top, I believe. Well, actually at the bottom as well. Both offside, but Jason Moss will. Austin Mack's not playing. Walter Fletcher's not playing. A couple guys on defense.
2nd and 13 for Fajardo. Goes underneath. And that's pushed ahead. Charleston Rambo not near enough. And we've got an injured player back inside the 25. Josh Donovan, the right tackle, and he's holding his left knee. You can see that look on Jason Moss' face. He is not happy at all. His Alouettes trail 7-0. Will step away as they take a look at the big offensive lineman for Montreal.
This does not look good for Josh Donovan, who is limping off. Right tackle right at the top of your screen. It looks like his leg just sort of jams in the turf. One-on-one on the edge, and right there, that left leg, you reach for it almost immediately. Need some assistance getting off the field.
Tough for the Montreal Alouettes, whose only goal really in this game is to come out of it healthy. And early here, you lose your right tackle, second-year man out of Arizona. Well,
and the tough part for these coaches is you can't basically bring in 12 backups. You can't.
You got to play somebody.
The rosters aren't big enough, and there's salary cap implications. And you have to have your starters. And both these coaches want to win this game. I mean, for different reasons maybe, but they want to win it.
Big kick. That'll be taken at the 20 after a 50-yard boot. Williams brings it back out to close to the 40. $57 yards passing for Vernon Adams on that first drive. Just 3 attempts, completed 2 of them. 1 to McInnes, 1 to Hatcher. Interested to see him and Hatcher get back up to speed too, because Hatcher very briefly played with VA before his injury, after Hatcher returned from an injury of his own. So some chemistry still to be put together there this season. They'll hand it off. Good carry just outside the 45 in the hands of Stanback.
Isaac Ediemi Berglund has been outstanding off the edge. 7 quarterback sacks, 9 tackles for losses for the Southeast Louisiana product. And then you go into the linebacker core. We talked about him. Tyrese Beverett, a candidate, and you can make a great argument for outstanding player, let alone outstanding defensive player. Safeties, Marc-Antoine Dequoy. He's had a bit of an up and down season only because he's been hit and injured for a bit of it. But this is a playmaker back there.
2nd and 4. Adams playmaking himself on the run. He's got the first down and a slide to midfield. Some jump in his game right now, isn't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and that's infectious. I mean, it is. He gets a chance to get back in the starting lineup, sees the opening, a little pressure up the middle. I think it was Ediemi Berglund going up the middle on a stunt, and first down for Vernon Adams.
Mentioned Berglund again. He's got 5 sacks in his last 5 games on a tear right now. 1st and 10 for Adams. Gets it out there, far side of the field, right back to McInnes, his 2nd catch of the game.
What a season for Justin McInnes. 1st in yards, 1st in big plays. He's made another one over 30 yards. That's double figures for him on the season. That's number 1 in the CFL, and 1st in those clutch 2nd down catches.
BC will need 6 more yards here. 3 options out to the right for VA. Looks to his left, throws to his left. Flags on the play as he tried to drop it over the shoulder of Stanback with Beverett in coverage.
Offside, BC number 13. Penalties declined. It's 3rd down.
As Alexander Hollins, who was offside. Alouettes will decline it, and this will force BC to kick it away.
When you have, I mentioned sort of 2 different reasons these coaches want to win this game. One for Rick Campbell is to get back on track. I mean, this team has been wobbly over the last month. That's being fair, or more than fair. It's not. This team has not played well in Vancouver. And for Jason Moss, he wants to maintain the standard. This team has a stand. This is a 12-win team, 1st place in the East. Long time since they've done that. He wants to maintain that standard
and keep that foot on the gas if you're Jason Moss on a rainy day in Vancouver.
Cool.
Cody Fajardo 7-3-1 on the season. 1 of those 3 losses coming against the BC Lions last month.
Yeah, interesting offense when you don't really have a 1,000-yard receiver in this offense. You don't have a 1,000-yard running back, and yet you've got 3 receivers over 700. You've got real balance, and Cody Fajardo making those explosion plays. Number 1 team in the league with the explosions at 34 on the season.
This drive will start on their own 16, and they'll start it on the ground, right up the middle, pushing it ahead. Decent pickup. The rush attack on 1st down. Let's take a look at this BC defense today.
A couple weeks ago, Matthew Betts had a 70-yard interception for a touchdown. Don't say that often about defensive linemen, but he caught a little screen pass and away he went. TJ Lee has been a real bright spot since moving down to linebacker in a big way. Talked to Ryan Phillips about Christophe Bellew. He says that tons of upside potential. They love him as a starter at safety, but he's got to start making plays back there, especially against the explosions.
26th overall pick in this past draft. We're back on the ground with Sean Thomas Erlington, and is stopped. No gain, maybe even a loss of a couple yards on the play. And that'll be a second straight 2-and-out for the Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah, you heard Matt Dunnigan talk about in the pregame show about that it's not necessarily just Nathan Rourke's fault that this team has got to make some changes and play differently and play better. And defense is where that starts. Get the ball back to give your quarterback, whomever it is starting, more opportunities, more chances to put drives together. And Ryan Phillips, we had a great conversation with him this week about how much pressure he's putting on his defense to play better.
Matthew Betts started that. Gary Peters came in to help him finish it. And BC could be looking at very juicy field position here. Terry Williams waits just outside his own 40. That'll hang up there, and that'll push him back all the way to the 30. 56-yard kick, a good one. Williams now returns it, and he's hammered down at the 45-yard line. Jacob Mason on the special teams tackle there. Vernon Adams Jr. back at the helm of the Lions offense. Vernon Adams Jr. was off to a sensational start. Look at that projected over 5,500 yards. He has not started in 79 days. For more on that journey, let's send it down to Farhan Lalji.
Guys, I had a chance to talk to VA about the situation. He admitted to me this has been very difficult for him. He goes back to 2022, and he came in midseason and filled in for Nathan Rourke. And when Rourke came back for the playoffs, it was palpable, the energy around the team. They wanted him back. He understood at that moment that was Nathan's team. And he felt that this year, this is his team. So he was very surprised that when they brought in Rourke, they weren't committing to making him the starting quarterback again once he got healthy. He said that really, really impacted his confidence. He felt he should have been treated the same way this year that Rourke was in 2022. As for some of the receivers, I did have a chance to talk to Keon Hatcher and Justin McInnes about it. They also concurred. They know how good Nathan is. They understand the organization wanting to bring him back, but they also believed that VA should have been handled a little bit differently, and that it did impact the locker room to a point.
Well, it seemed like he handled the situation extremely well. Fakes the handoff here, under pressure, dumps it off. Good tackle made right at the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's an interesting discussion because there wasn't really a decision to be made, as Farhan mentioned, when Vernon Adams was actually injured when Nathan Rourke signed. In fact, Nathan Rourke basically had one practice with the first team before he played that first game against Winnipeg, which was obviously a very tough opponent. So there was no decision really to be made at that point. They got Nathan Rourke back. He was going to start because Vernon Adams was hurt. But as Farhan mentioned, when he became healthy a couple of games later, that's when, the discussion began.
Adams on the run to his right, little slip. Now throws it down the field, and he's got a first down. Hatcher hauls it in, his second catch of the game.
And I will say this, when you talk about Rick Campbell and how he's been managing this, he said at the very beginning when Rourke signed that he'd want Vernon Adams as being a big part of this team. Vernon did replace Nathan Rourke for a half a couple of games ago. Didn't have a lot of success.
Adams again down the field, lays it out there, got to the 5 to the end zone, touchdown! Stanley Berryhill with a big shot, 52 yards as Adams is slinging it, and the Lions go on top by 13.
He sure is, and any of that confidence issue that Farhan talked about is gone because that first play to Justin McInnes got him right back in the groove, and now Vernon Adams. The key on this throw is the air he puts under the football. He just throws it up there and gives his target in Berryhill a chance to just go and track it down like a center fielder, and he goes down after that football from the wideout spot, 52-yard throw and catch for a second touchdown on the night for Vernon Adams. Second, one rushing, one throw.
Yeah, he's got one of each already. 126 yards here in the first quarter. First quarter ain't even over. Sean White smashes one through, and it's 14-0 for the Lions. Second touchdown of the season for Stanley Berryhill.
Berryhill is he in the starting lineup as a wide receiver, but in this particular formation, there's 3 into the boundary, and he's in that slot back spot, the number 2 spot. He gets the one-on-one that he wanted. Inside leverage on that deep post, and Vernon Adams puts air under that football, lets him track it down. And, you know, throughout all of this discussion on the quarterbacks, that quarterback room has been solid, and both those guys, Vernon Adams and Nathan Rourke, have treated all of this as true pros and team guys first.
3 plays, all that was needed. 65 yards with the 52-yard strike to Berryhill. 15th passing touchdown of the season for Adams, and he's had a tremendous start so far here tonight. That is booted down to the 20. Letcher takes it there. Can he find some space along the near sideline? Not much. Takes it all the way back out to about the 42 on the return.
Grey Cup right here in Vancouver. He's going to headline it, and then we got Old Dirt Road. That's a song I want to hear. I want to hear Old Dirt Road.
You like that one?
I love Old Dirt Roads, man. I'm trying to learn the chords so that, you know, you and I could work on it.
Well, you play the guitar, I'm the vocalist, and we'll make it work. Far side of the field. That's the running back. Thomas Erlington, 9 yards on the pickup.
Who, by the way, is in his 8th year under the University of Montreal, and just, you know, one of the guys that is an unsung hero on any team he plays on. He just, you know, when he gets his opportunity, he plays hard every snap.
2nd and 1, Fajardo pushes it ahead. Should be enough for the Montreal first down.
Now the change, we showed you the injury to Josh Donovan. He was carted off a little bit earlier here, and Jamar McCloster has lined up at that right tackle spot.
An emotional Josh Donovan after coming out of the tent, being carted off the field. Big loss at right tackle for the Alouettes. They just picked up their first down of the ball game. On the ground again. Net at the line of scrimmage, but good effort. Good power there from Sean Thomas Erlington, and a flag right at the end of the play. And that is against the Alouettes.
Ryder Varga was in the middle of that, rotating with Ben Hladek.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Montreal number 66. 15-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
That's some good-looking war paint there. We used to call that cruising. That's cruising from Lestage, who we used to, you don't hang around the pile. Like, either make the tackle, get in on the tackle, or get out of the way.
You're in the pile or you're out of the pile.
Because an offensive lineman's going to be cruising. Now it's a penalty.
2nd and 23. Fajardo dumps it off.
Doesn't get the edge.
Really nowhere to go up to the 45. Back to Thomas Erlington again, who's heavily involved in the offense so far for Montreal.
Yeah, he just, again, just as a guy that whenever he gets a chance, you start to almost discuss why he hasn't been a starter in the league at some point. I mean, he's filled in at times, but University of Montreal product. And Walter Fletcher rests tonight.
Terry Williams waits in the distance to return this, averaging 11.3 yards per punt return this season. Zima lets it go. Williams has to fade over to his left here. Takes it just inside the 10. 55-yard kick brought back outside the 20. Spin move into traffic. And he stops at the 23. Vernon Adams Jr. Excellent so far here in the first quarter.
6 for 8, 126, couple explosion plays. One down the field to Justin McInnes to get things started. And then Stanley Berryhill with a deep shot for a touchdown.
Couple of completions to McInnes, couple to Hatcher, the deep shot to Berryhill. Stanback's been involved against his former club. Stanback second in the league in rushing yards behind only Brady Oliveira. The work from the BC 23, and they go on the ground. Stanback pushing it ahead. Excellent first down carry. He'll give him 9.
Well, William Stanback's best game of the season for the Lions was against Montreal in early September. His old team going back to Montreal, the win for the Lions. 128 rushing that game.
Had 20 carries in that game. Had the touchdown on the ground as well. They end up giving him 8, so it's going to be 2nd and 2 for the Lions from the BC 31. Stanback in behind Vernon Adams. Mackey in the game as well. Move over to the left edge of that line. Now they'll toss it out. Stanback looking for a first down marker, lunging ahead, and that second effort may end up being enough.
Najee Murray makes it close because he jumps in to contain and forces William Stanback to chop his feet and stop his momentum. But Stanback with second effort gets there.
3 1,000-yard seasons now for Stanback, 2 with the opposition tonight, and then here with BC.
Watch 12. See 12 flash in front there and cause him to turn the corner, but he got it.
Final play of the quarter. They'll move VA out to his right, near side, complete. Drops it in there to Aiden Eberhardt for his first catch of the ball game, and what a first quarter for the BC Lions. We talked about it, a change at quarterback, trying to find some momentum in their final regular season game. So far, so good. They lead the Montreal Alouettes 14-0 after 15 minutes. Welcome back to BC Place, where a ceremony was held earlier today for the 2024 class of the BC Football Hall of Fame. And I think it's safe to say that I am definitely the third wheel on the broadcast today as Glenn Suter getting there. This is a nice jacket they gave you, Suits.
Yeah, real cool jacket, cool event. And, you know, it's to support the legacy of the late Bob Ackles, Scott Ackles, in charge of the proceedings there. It was outstanding. It was a great honor. But football is the ultimate team sport. And, you know, so there's a whole bunch of people that are involved in something like this, and I go back to my high school coach Earl Henderson, who was such a father figure and mentor for me. A couple of teammates I want to mention. One is Ron Barker, who's battling some medical issues, was one of my #1 receivers in high school. So the journey was great. I know Farhan has enjoyed it, and probably we can't thank them all, can we, Farhan? But it's there's a lot of people involved.
No, and I'm glad you mentioned Earl, because my old high school coach Alex Reed is also battling some health issues. He's in North Vancouver, and he's impacted my life so much, and I got involved in football in this province in a bigger level beyond just coaching, because he did it too. And you mentioned Bob Ackles as well. One of the first things he mentioned to me when he came back, that among the things he wanted to get started was a BC Football Hall of Fame. And to see Scott, his son, and Kay, his wife, today, just to bring that moment full circle meant a lot.
Congrats to Farhan, who goes in as a builder into the Hall of Fame. Matching jackets for the boys.
Yeah, it's such a weird feeling in some ways when it is the ultimate team game, and yet these are sort of individual achievements. And you know, I get it, and it's been such a great honor. But so many teammates were actually in attendance tonight from both football and beer league hockey. If you
yes, beer league hockey guys. Maybe you'll make the Beer League Hockey Hall of Fame one day. Here's VA lunging ahead, close to a first down. Excellent effort.
Yeah, no, that's never going to happen.
They don't let third liners into the hall?
No, we were called the football line. We score 1 goal a year on the football line. But great teammates, and wanted to mention one of the great receivers I had in high school who's still battling, and battling some medical issues. Ron Barker, thinking about you, brother.
Adams has 15 yards on the ground, 141 through the air. And give him some more. Finds Hollins up at the 50. Who's eventually forced out of bounds by Beverett. 6 yards for Hollins. Second tackle of the game for Beverette. He's 3 away from hitting the 100 mark on the season.
Yeah, and has a chance to lead in the tackle category. I mean, he's only about 7 back, I believe, from Niles Morgan, who's the leader coming into this week in Edmonton. So a chance to lead in that category, not to mention all the other stats. He's filled the sheet this year.
2nd and 4. They'll give it to Stanback as well as he stretches it out before eventually being forced out of bounds by Lorenzo Burns.
Yeah, sometimes you got to play physical and hit it up in there, and sometimes it's a sprint to get to the marker. And Stanback makes that decision very quickly. Actually just gets the outside leverage on Lorenzo Burns, a corner.
Burns, rookie out of Arizona, making the tackle on the former Alouette. And the first downs here for BC. Offense finding its stride so far here in this one. Stanback again. Found a little bit of a hole, takes it down to the 40. And it'll be 2nd down and rather manageable situation again for Vernon Adams.
Yeah, you can, definitely with both of these teams and both obviously wanting to win and Vernon Adams wanting to get back into that starting role, you could see a more jump in the step in the Lions certainly than in Montreal. And it's tough. I mean, how many weeks ago did they know that they were in first place?
Well, I wanted to ask you that. Jason Moss, we said he's not going to take his foot off the gas. They're going to try to keep a couple guys healthy and not playing. But as a player down the field, how difficult is it to get up for this game if you're the Alouettes? Not to mention they played on Monday. Here's Adams taking off again, and he pushes it forward very close, probably just shy of the first down.
They played on Monday. They historically have struggled at BC Place Stadium. In fact, 2015 was the last win here for the Montreal Alouettes in this stadium. But to answer your question, you know how we love our hockey in this country, and you know how in playoff hockey is very different than regular season hockey. Yeah. If you could bottle playoff hockey intensity through the regular season, you wouldn't lose a game.
Oh, yeah.
But it's human nature not to, because it's not do or die. You know where you are in the playoffs. So it's a tough battle mentally to play at your top, level.
Back into the game, looking for the first down, no problem. Pushes that ahead to the 30. Last year when they came out a day earlier. They traveled yesterday to get out here too from Montreal, likely because of the scheduling on the Monday game. So not to make excuses, but certainly a tough spot for the Alouettes here.
24 years ago before 2015 when they won here was the last time they won here at BC Place. The last win at BC Place was 24 years ago. I mean, that's how tough it's been for the Alouettes to win in Vancouver.
Adams had a little bit of time, but it closed quickly, and they will take him down for the first time today. Richards is there.
Yeah, Tyrell Richards is getting a chance to play up at the top of your screen here, and a little bit of a 5-on-5 pressure. Just works his man up the field and then cuts underneath for the sack. It's funny how Jason Moss told us that he was going to play some young guys, not to rest the veterans. He didn't want to even talk about rest. He didn't want to bring it up. He was saying, I'd like some of our young guys to get some playing time just in case we need them in the Eastern Final.
13 yards on 2nd down for Adams. Moves that one quickly. First tackle is broken. McInnes cannot find anywhere else to go, and that will bring up 3rd down, and Sean White will be called into duty for his first field goal attempt of the day.
Now for the Lions, who are in 3rd place in the West and can't improve with a win here tonight, they will travel to either Saskatchewan, Winnipeg. Still don't know where the semi and West final will be yet. Won't know that till the end of next week. But the last time the Lions won the championship from the 3rd spot in the West, 2000. Again, That's a long time.
Flashing it back a little bit there.
But possible. It can happen from that third spot in the standings.
33-yard attempts, automatic for Sean White, who's now 49 of 52 on the season. As expected, we will see Davis Alexander at some point in the game, but not yet, as they'll continue to roll out Cody Fajardo here in the second quarter. Well, we mentioned it a little bit earlier, Suits. Trip down memory lane here as you get inducted in the BC Football Hall of Fame.
That was first year SFU. That's a touch football team, which I tell you what, that's part of the journey. Played touch football in every offseason in Saskatchewan. My wife made me put that one in. That was my first year of tackle football up in Prince George. And there he is, Earl Henderson, Carson Graham High School, and a tremendous mentor.
Yeah, that first picture, did you still have the bowl from that haircut? Is that still around?
I still got the bowl.
Here's Fajardo, has some room if he can get away to his left, has to throw it before he is sacked. He drops it at the feet of his fullback, Dallaire.
You mentioned Davis Alexander before the commercial, and you know, there's no discussion like there is in BC about the quarterback position in Montreal. Cody Fajardo, it's his team. He will be the starter in the Eastern Final. But Davis Alexander is going to play tonight, and I'm a little surprised we're still seeing Cody Fajardo this long. I mean,
I thought we'd see a first quarter.
The risk gets turned up a little bit more with every play.
Fajardo here, pressured from behind, and he is hit. Matthew Betts has his second sack of his shortened season.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. He comes up from the right side of the defensive formation, up and around. Great hands to knock down the hands of the blocking on the outside. But this is what I mean, a hit from the blind side, from the backside on Cody Fajardo. And I get Jason Maas wanting to have him play a little bit, you know, so he's not too rusty, having to wait a couple of weeks once the playoffs start. It'll be 3 weeks. I mean, they play. Montreal has one more game in the regular season.
Well, and it's against Winnipeg next week, and that'll be a big game for Winnipeg. 49-yard kick into the hands of the returner out at the 35. They'll eventually drive him back. Nowhere to go for Terry Williams. Cody Fajardo, this may be the last we've seen of him. Got to be careful with that guy. Put him in a bubble wrap until the postseason. Well, it's been a special season for Justin McInnis, and he's trying to be the first player since Andy Fantu since 2010 to be a Canadian leading this league in receiving yards.
Yeah, first Canadian player, and he's got a comfortable lead on Justin Hardy, who didn't play in Ottawa's last game. But another big catch, or a couple of them tonight already.
This drive starts on the BC 37. V8 dumps it off to his running back. Stanback had a little bit of an escort there with Everhart, but that was blown up quickly.
Big season for Andy Fantu back in 2010. The last Canadian to lead the league. That's Darian Durant, who just went in the Plaza of Honor in Saskatchewan. That was a great night, celebrating him and Roy Shivers. But what a season for Andy Fantus that year. Also played with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. But he used to say about Andy Fantus when we'd covered the games that he played in that he was one of the best I've seen in knowing where to be and when to be there, time and space, and how to manage it.
You know you're a big deal when you get the cereal box treatment. That's down the field. I'm serious about that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No,
how many people have their own cereal box?
Fantus Flakes, absolutely. Now, he's in the command center tonight, still working with the Canadian Football League, which is excellent. So if there's any decision that is made from the command center tonight that you're unhappy with, I'm sure you know his social media.
That's him. He's in trouble. 3rd and 4. BC will kick it away. Low snap. Flintoff grabs it. Smashes it down to Letcher, who is waiting. Just outside the 15. Letcher trying to stretch it out on the far side. Makes the corner. Runs out of a little bit of room, but look at that. Picks his way all the way up beyond the 45. Nice return there from Letcher. Hey, that guy reminds me of somebody. Lead singer Nickelback in the owner's suite.
Yes, sir.
Watch list.
Yeah, and have you started? Because I'm holding off. I'm going to wait, but I'm going to binge it.
I've watched all 4 episodes. I have to tell you, the 4th episode of The Penguins, one of the best episodes of TV I've seen in a long time. So check it out. Good show. Leon Crave. Here's Fajardo still in the game. Dumps it off. They've got a first down on the far side of the field. Julian Grant has it, and it's just the 2nd first down for the Alouettes. And is that why Cody's still in the game? If he goes and leads a touchdown drive here, is that the end of it?
Yeah, if it is, I don't agree with the reasoning on it. I think the risk is just too great at this point. You know, and you've got a motivated Davis Alexander who wants to keep his role going and keep, putting stuff on his resume.
Well, I was talking about this game earlier in the week, and I said, when we get to see Davis, that guy's still got a lot to prove. Like, he wants to show the entire league, look at me, I'm 4-0.
Absolutely.
Out here today putting in a performance, and we'll get to see him, I would think. Gary Peters is down. I'd like to welcome in our viewers on TSN 5. We're watching Formula One qualifying. I watched the sprint race in my hotel earlier today. Obviously missed everything after that, but fun sprint race today. Max Verstappen picking up the victory.
I know you were eating seafood. Tell me you were in Vancouver eating seafood while you were doing it.
I was not.
Okay. I'm gonna make that happen at some point. Certainly the Lions do not want to lose their veteran defensive back in Gary Peters, but it looks like he'll be okay. Little pep talk to the teammates as he heads over the sideline. But that's one thing. The reasoning for Jason Maas is he's an intense guy, wants to keep their standard. He wants to walk it like he talked. He's told them all week, we're going to go to play to win in Vancouver. That's it. So that's why Cody's still out there. But the BC Lion defense has got to start to play better.
Yes, they do.
And if they want to have any shot and not be just one and done in the playoffs, this defensive unit that has some star players. I mean, that's TJ Lee you're looking at. Veteran playmakers on defense in the league. Matthew Betts is another one. Tehema has had a good season. They haven't played consistently enough, and Ryan Phillips wants to see better.
First down from the BC 47. Fajardo has a man wide open, far side of the field, gets it to Sneed down the far sideline, where Rugamba eventually tracks him down, but this is the best that the Montreal offense has looked so far tonight.
Yeah, great call by Jason Maas to go right in the spot where Gary Peters lines up. He saw him go off. He's got to wait at least 3 plays, so there were a little shuffling in the secondary from the Lions, and they go right into that short side where Gary Peters usually plays corner.
From the BC 27, 4 options out to the right for Cody. That's where he throws up to the 25. Tackle is made by Ronald Kent Jr. after a short pickup through the air.
Again, for the record, though, Cody Fajardo's been on the field too long for me. And a good drive, and this will be positive, and it's probably his last.
End of the half, close, coming near anyway. So.
Yeah.
Second and 6, Julian Grant at the top of your screen. Fajardo looks to his right, takes off of the middle, has a little bit of space, and he'll just run safely out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
How much do you think Jason Maas in his mind was saying hook slide, hook slide, hook slide, hook slide when he got out here? Running quarterbacks, we've got a ton of them in the league, and when they pump the line of scrimmage, it still holds a defender at times.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The work from the BC Lions 10, trying to get on the board for the first time today. Fajardo, far side, down to the 5, trying to push it towards the end zone. Not going to happen. But Julian Grant. That'll take us inside 3 minutes here in Vancouver, as the BC Lions trying to use this game, their final of the regular season, to find some momentum heading into the playoffs. Montreal already has first place wrapped up.
Enoch, what grade are you giving VA so far?
He's at an A.
An A, Matt?
Absolutely.
A? We're going A+, Milts? A++.
Yes,
All right, we'll be talking about Vernon Adams Jr. and plenty more halftime just around the corner. Dustin, Glenn, back to you.
It's all A's. What is this, my high school report card? Holy smokes.
It's not mine.
Adams has been good. Fajardo to the sidelines. Dom Davis into the game here. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns on this season. 2nd and 2 from the BC 2. Davis stretches it out, trying to cut it back. They'll stop him and slam him down. Nowhere to go on that play. Ben Hladek with the denial.
It was a race to the corner and to the cone. Dominic Davis took off to try and get to the cone. Watch the reaction, and the shedding of a block by Hladek cuts him off and then throws him to the ground with the big tackle. Head on the right side, good form, down he goes.
That will be a sack for Hladek, his 3rd of the season. Fajardo back in here, 3rd and 3. From the BC 3, he'll operate out of the shotgun with 3 options. Out to his right, looks to his left, throws to the corner, incomplete, looking for Rambo, working against TJ Lee, and the BC Lions defense comes up with a stop.
Trying to do a wheel route to Rambo from that 2 spot. The wheel goes out and then right down the sideline in the end zone. So here's the outcut from Rambo, and then the throw is ball's already in the air. It's just a little bit too far and to the outside. Rambo, even if he catches this, I believe he might be on the white stripe. Just out of his reach, but well covered by TJ Lee.
So the Lions get the ball back here with just over 2 minutes to work. Montreal comes up empty. VA stands in his own end zone and flags on the play pretty much before that ball was even snapped.
Yeah, usually they don't blow it dead unless it's offense moving first.
Procedure.
Yep.
BC number 64. Half the distance to goal. Remains first down.
It's the left guard, Woodruff. Quick little step to his right there. Back him up a bit. 1st and 11. Adams down the field, over the middle, and hauling it in again is McInnes, his 4th of the game. He's caught all 4 balls thrown in his direction.
McInnes is running that bender route that was so successful for them early in the season, and this is again Marc-Antoine Dequoy last year made that play. In fact, he usually made the play on the ball last year. He's a little bit late coming out of his break there, or else he might have had a shot at it.
76 first half yards for McInnes. Adams under pressure on the run to his right. Great throw just outside the 40 as he goes to Everhart in a tight window.
And a gutsy throw against the flow. Vernon Adams is feeling it, jumps up in the pocket, climbs in there, and then to his right, throws back against the flow. and fits it in.
He might be working on an A+. The A's might not be enough. He's got a 200-yard first half, 13 of 16 for 203 and a touchdown, rushing touchdown as well. Deep shot again down the field. No, incomplete. Looking for McInnes, who snuck in behind the defense, but couldn't track that one.
Well, people look at Justin McInnes and they think possession receiver. And he can get down the field. I mentioned he leads the league in the explosion plays, the 30-yard plus plays. That was another example of him just missing. Adams just missing on a downfield route.
This feels like that early season BC offense that did not hesitate to put the ball deep down the field. Adams has done it multiple times so far today. 2nd and 10. This time near side. Everhart should be a first down. That'll be right at the first down marker.
That's the total design of this play. A 2nd and 10 play. This out's got to be run at 12. So when Everhart comes back a step or two to make sure he separates from the DB. In this case, it was Ruffin. He's right at the marker. Well executed timing out for the first down.
Everhart 3rd on the team in receiving yards coming into the game. He's now over 600 on the season. 2nd-year man out of Wyoming. Minute left to go. All the way up to midfield already. Adams wide open again. Berryhill made a move and then steps out of bounds. Let's get an update on Stanback from Farhan.
Yeah, guys, William Stanback will not return. I'm told he's got a stinger. It's affecting his left arm. They just want to make sure that he can protect himself, and right now they don't think he can do that. They don't think it's serious. It's not going to affect him for a potential playoff game in 2 weeks. As for Gary Peters, his shoulder pads are off. He's going to go into the locker room. They'll reevaluate him at that point.
No reason to mess with either of those guys here today.
No, and when I asked Rick Campbell, I said, have you even thought, because you can't improve in the playoff race, about resting anybody? He goes, resting? Why would I rest anybody? We got to get winning.
Adams down the field again. This one is intercepted just inside the 10. Wesley Sutton was just waiting for it. And that's his 2nd of the campaign.
Take a look at intended target out there, I believe, was Alexander Hollins. And back from his injury, missed a couple of games. Little contact there, but play made over the top. That's basically a zone defense that turns into man when the receiver runs into your zone. That's why Burns is running with them. But it was a 3-deep zone, and Vernon Adams threw right into the teeth of it.
This has been challenged by Rick Campbell. 50% on his challenges so far this season.
We saw the contact. That was when Alexander Hollins jabbed his feet and just kind of that stop and go action. And he becomes the intended target.
BC is challenging the previous play for defensive pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
Because that would have been upgraded. If they did throw a flag for that, it would have been upgraded to pass interference. That was illegal contact, but became the intended receiver. So we'll take a look at it again. Here's Alexander Hollins. They're going to go deep in the playoffs. They need Hollins to come up big and be a big play guy down the field. Hollins.
Basically, you're looking at Lorenzo Burns saying he contacted him past 5 yards.
Yeah, on the jab step there, yeah. Okay, Andy. He was a receiver. Does that influence anything? No, it won't. It won't. I don't even want to suggest that because fans will take that and run with it.
Wesley Sutton, nothing to do with it. He was just waiting for this ball to come down to him just inside the 10, but he'll watch on and see if his 2nd interception of the season is going to be taken off the board.
Now you can only make contact and reroute the receiver within 5 yards. However, That was definitely not within 5 yards. That was deep.
That was beyond the 5. Yes.
However, I think the decision that's being made now is when Holland jabs his feet like that, he stops his own momentum forward.
Okay. All right. Let's get the ruling.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands. BC, by losing a challenge, has lost a timeout. First down, Montreal.
4th lost challenge of the year. And that second INT for Sutton stays on the board.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, that contact, if it inhibited Alexander Hollands from continuing on his route, then it's PI. But he jabbed his feet at that point, stopped his momentum himself.
And off again, right up the middle with Sean Thomas Erlington. We are expecting to see Stevie Scott in this game as well, who's dressed for the Alouettes today. And they'll give him a first down.
At least going the first half, isn't he?
Fajardo 7 of 9, 67 yards. Got 16 yards on the ground as well. Works from his own 18 late in the first half. His team down by 17. Erlington nowhere to go, and he's going to be driven back well behind the original line of scrimmage with 12 seconds remaining in the quarter.
He tried to spin out of this tackle and right into Banks. That's why you pursue on the backside defensively. Just because the play is going away from you on the defensive line doesn't mean you stop. Banks continued and was right there.
Betts turned him around. Banks finished him off. And that will do it for the opening half as Cody Fajardo takes a knee and the BC Lions take a 17-0 lead into the room at halftime. Vernon Adams, the big story in this one. 15 of 20, 224, touchdown and a pick.
Well, and it started with Justin McInnes on a go route as Vernon Adams was getting hit, and he just built on that throw with a nice 5-play drive, got down and ended up running into the end zone on this one, and also threw a touchdown pass.
Pretty good first half of Vernon Adams. He stands by with Farhan Lalji.
Vernon, if nothing else, it looked like you came into this game wanting to take some shots. Tell me why.
Yeah, man, I knew they were going to bring pressure, and, you know, my O-line and the blockers, the receivers, running backs, whatever, they're doing a great job just giving me that time to buy some time and throw it deep for these playmakers. They really just making me look good, for real. That's it. So.
Making you look good. Yeah, you're right in terms of Justin McInnes and Keon Hatcher. They made some key catches. They talked about you playing, giving them some juice. Do you feel that from them coming back?
Man, I just think it's the crowd, man. They came and they opened up the upper deck. They're giving us that juice. Everyone's taking the field. We're having fun, man, and we just got to finish this game.
Thanks for this, Viet.
Guys, God bless. Go Lions.
Lions with a 17-0 lead, the best they've looked in some time. Let's send it to the panel. Here's Laura.
Go Lions. Go TSN. Go halftime.
TSN.
Go halftime panel. Go. Yes, we are back here inside the TSN studio. Thanks, Farhan, for that. When it comes to Vernon Adams Jr., obviously with that interception there at the end, kind of have this feeling that it's just the trickle-down effect. It's infectious, right? His play. Very first play of the game, 43-yard connection. Then the Alouettes go back-to-back 2 and out there. So we're kind of seeing a totally different Lions team than what we've seen as of late. Maddie, do you think this is VA's team now going forward? Is there any way he doesn't start November the 2nd?
Wow, a lot going on with that question right there.
Yeah, there is.
And there's a lot going on in my head when I watch him play and watch his football team respond to him underneath the center. Yeah, VA has sparked this football team. They're playing better defensively, and I love the thought process with Jordan McSimic going deep on the first play. You know, he's been chomping at the bit to get out there. He's got fresh legs. He looks like he's 20 years old out there, running around making things happen. To answer your last question, Laura, yeah, I think this is his football team. You can't go backwards here. Your football team's looking for a spark. They have spark. They're playing with a little hop in their step. You move forward with VA.
I mean, he looks rejuvenated. He looks refreshed. He looks like he's taking time off the field with his team, but he looks like he's been playing with this team this whole time. I mean, he looked like he understood the offense. He had a great feel for it. When pressure was coming to him, he avoided it. Like you said, Maddie, he looked even younger.
Fresh legs.
But the confidence is one of those intangibles that is absolutely infectious to what you said as well, Laura. But this is going throughout the whole team, including the defense. And this team is looking completely different and ready for the playoffs, Milt.
Yeah, it's been truly amazing what he's been able to do. I think, Laura, you said his last touchdown pass was July 21st, I think. And
correct.
He's thrown basically 7 passes in the last 8 games. And as you mentioned, everyone is feeding off of this. You got to ask yourself, like, why are they able to play so well now? Where was this before VA came back? But it's good for this team. They're getting it done. They want to go into the playoffs with some momentum. They know that they're going to be playing in Winnipeg, Saskatchewan. We know what those environments are like. But right now, I think it's safe to say they have their guy, and it's Vernon Adams. And I guarantee you he's happy about what's going on right now.
And this is their final game of the regular season, a bye next week. Is that kind of coming at the wrong time now?
I mean, look, all you wanted to see is a quarterback behind center that can rally the team and that looks good, and VA's doing that right now. So, yes, might be a wrong time because you still want to get as many reps as possible, but this is a step in the right direction, and they're doing a good job of that right now.
All I know is looking from week 7 onward, this has been a very inconsistent football team, right? They need some consistency, and certainly from behind the center, you should be able to get that with Vernon Adams because he's a more experienced quarterback than Nathan Rourke right now. But this team has struggled. And before they went to Nathan Rourke, you got to remember that VA was struggling as well, and this team had lost a little bit of their mojo. And then Rourke came in, the whole dynamic of that football team changed completely, and it hasn't been the same. Tonight, they look like the BC Lions when they start out this football season through the first 6 weeks.
Yep, losers of 3 of their last 4. We know they're locked into 3rd, and all they can do next week is wait and see if it'll be Winnipeg they'll be going to or Saskatchewan on November 2nd for that Western semifinal. Pitching a shutout here in the first half. Our first game of today's doubleheader featured the Red Blacks and the Argos, the battle for second place in the East. Here in the second quarter, it's Chad Kelly to a wide-open Mackay Polk 47-yard touchdown. Kelly had a season-high 3 touchdown passes in this one, also rushed for 1 as Toronto looking to secure home field in the Eastern semifinal. The Red Blacks, though, cue the comeback. Put up 25 points in the 4th quarter to make it a game, but with 18 seconds left, there goes Drew Brown. Argo's 3rd sack of the day holds off that late surge as, yes, Toronto does clinch a home playoff game for the 4th consecutive season. They will finish 2nd in the East. The Argos starting to piece it together. They've now won 4 of their last 5, including 3 in a row, while the Red Blacks going in the opposite direction. This is now their 5th straight loss. And, you know, we look at how this one ended, but did it take away, no, okay, Milt, go ahead.
No, Ottawa still lost, and as I say, you don't almost win. That's like saying I'm almost pregnant. That doesn't exist. So the storyline, of course, is the play of Chad Kelly, and he's really starting to shape into form. This is what we saw last year, besides, of course, the East final. But this is the Chad Kelly that the Argos are excited about because we know what their defense can do, and if they can put this all together, as I mentioned during the game, they're going to be a challenge to anyone they play against.
Kudos to Ryan Dinwiddie calling another game that is balanced in the attack, taking some pressure off his offensive line and helping out the young quarterback. Milt, you mentioned it. The MOP season he had last year was outstanding, and he just froze in the East final. Up until we see him in that situation again, all this stuff is fodder because he's got to put up. And when that game comes around, and he's been doing it lately with a balanced attack. And I love what Ryan Dinwiddie's doing today. 35 runs, 26 passes. To me, that's an incredible balance in the Canadian Football League.
And And you talk about this season. It's one of those unusual seasons for the Toronto Argonauts, and Chad Kelly was one of the main reasons. But again, to your point, he came back, and now he looks like he's been there the whole time.
Best game of the season for him, 331 yards passing. I mentioned 4 total touchdowns. More importantly, though, back-to-back games now without throwing an interception. One more have to go in Week 20. It's the BC Lions up 17-zip over the defending champs.
Well, if BC was looking to find some momentum here late in the season, 17-0 at the half probably feels pretty good. Cody Fajardo and the offense shut out for the Alouettes. He's standing by with Farhan Lalji.
Cody, the offense has been operating at a high level all season when you've been healthy, but just what happened in that first half?
Too many second and longs. And when I say second and long, second and 15, can't do that versus a good defense. So took too many penalties. We got to clean some things up, but I feel really confident in what we talked about in halftime, coming out here and playing good football.
I know Davis is going to play the second half, and Coach Moss has talked a lot about the standard. When there's nothing at stake, you got a flight in a few hours to get back. How tough is it to live that?
Oh, it's frustrating for me because you want to play the whole game once you get in there. But we've got the privilege to be in the position where we're at, where we're able to rest some guys, but you want to be able to be playing good football. We learned that last year. You want to be hot at the right time, and we got to put some things together here in the second half, let it carry over to next week, going into the playoffs.
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you.
And congrats to Cody and a new family member, and one of the reasons he missed the last game. But yeah, I would add to that thought from Cody Fajardo on the privilege to host these final, the earned privilege.
Yep.
Because this is a 12-win team, best record in the Canadian Football League. Last time they won 12 games and finished first, or last time they finished first was back in 2012. The 100th Grey Cup was played in Toronto that year. Ricky Reyes Argos.
Montreal's offense will get the ball to start the third quarter. Letcher on the return, and he takes it out to about the 40. Ball pops out, scramble for it. BC Lions say they have it.
I haven't seen any signal from that official right on the spot. They're discussing it. I think they may be looking for some real-time help to see if he was down by contact here before the ball comes out. Boy, tough to tell from that angle, but it looked like the ball.
We've got both teams' offenses on the field briefly. Now the Lions offense will come back off the field. And it will be Montreal ball. Davis Alexander, 4-0 on the season as a starter. Comes in here for the second half of action today. Starts on his own 40. Gets it out quickly to Speaker. Speaker just turns and decides to try to bully his way ahead. And he'll get 6 yards on that first down.
Davis Alexander has done a nice job when he's filled in for Cody Fajardo. Remember, Fajardo had the hamstring issue early in the season and missed a few games there. He went 4-0 during those starts. Probably should give him 5-0 because he replaced Caleb Evans and played the majority of another game that they won.
25-year-old, a lot of family in attendance today for him, being a Washington State kid. It's his birthday tomorrow too. Alexander wastes no time, down the field, drops it in just inside the 25, but it'll be ruled incomplete on the play as he laid that out there.
Boy.
Effort was made on him, but could not haul it in.
Yeah, Cole Speaker had a shot. I mean, he gave it everything he had. He lays out, he goes after it, little jab step and stop and go move, and look at him reach out, but he's got to survive contact with the turf.
And oh, that close. Fourth 2-and-out of the ball game for Montreal. Terry Williams waits back at his own 10. Zima uses the far side of the field, drops it in just inside the 25, couple of hops, flag on the play, and Williams is wrapped up and corralled down the field by Gagne.
no yards. Montreal number 30.
We'll get a look at Vernon Adams when we return. Boy, Davis Alexander really wanted that deep shot, didn't he? Well, Justin McInnis picking right up where he left off with Vernon Adams Jr.
Yeah, off to that great start. Then there was a bit of a lull, and, you know, we should mention that he bounced back from that lull last week in the Lions game against Saskatchewan. It was a loss. The offense didn't look great, but Justin McInnis had 119 yards receiving, and Nathan Rourke started in that game just to... He's catching his stride again at the right time.
Adams completed 75% of his first half pass attempts, 224 yards, and dumps this one off. Whoa! Big hit on the far side. That ball popped out, whistles went. It was Hatcher who was upended.
See who got the contact here. This is just a across the formation. Well, it actually wasn't contact. Hatcher just jumped over Sutton. Wesley Sutton goes in low, right around the thigh level, and Hatcher reacts just in time.
Took a shoulder there. They did give him the catch. 4 yards, so it's 2nd and 6. 3 options out to the wide side left for Vernon Adams. That's where he looks first. Now that's where he's going to run. Under pressure, just throws it away with his left hand, out of bounds, and that will bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, got on the run there and actually switched hands. Eyes downfield, great slow motion shot of Vernon Adams, and watch him switch hands here. Little stutter stat, and then he was just throwing it out of bounds deliberately, but he wasn't far off that receiver. If he was wide open, he would have thrown it to him with his left hand.
Canton Arcou was forcing him out of bounds. I don't know if you saw in the background when he was running away. It looked like Adeyemi Berglund came up a little bit lame. He's chatting with one of the athletic therapists on the Montreal sideline as we speak. Flintoff smashes it away. Letcher takes it at the 35, a 41-yard kick. Gets back up to about the 45 before T.J. Lee tracks him down. Another look at Davis Alexander in this Montreal offense, and he is impressed when given an opportunity so far this season. In fact, with their backups the last 2 years, they're 7-0.
You know, every single team's GM has basically a magnetic whiteboard with every team's players on it, and they move those players around to, you know, potential free agents.
Yep.
There's a list of those guys they want to go after, and I think any team that is looking for a quarterback that, you know, could possibly be like that Drew Brown type of quarterback. You saw him develop in Winnipeg, and then you knew it was time that he was going to take over a team, which he's done in Ottawa, and looks like he'll be healthy again, which is good news for the Red Blacks. But Davis Alexander, I think, is in that category.
So is the guy on the other side of the ball tonight, Vernon Adams.
It'll be an interesting discussion in the offseason.
Teams will have an eye on him too. A stumble on the far side, and that falls incomplete. Tyler Sneed, he sort of tripped on his own. And that'll be 3rd down and a long 4 yards.
He wanted to get a good run in that waggle. Here, he's an outside receiver, then just blows a tire.
Can't do anything about that one if you're Alexander.
No, you have to throw it as he's coming out of his break.
Third and 4, that's kicked away, and that will be out of bounds. 7 possessions for the Alouettes, 6 punts and a turnover on downs. So the offense stuck in neutral here on a cloud-covered day on the West Coast.
Welcome back to BC Place. We're about a month away from the Grey Cup, which means a month away from the Grey Cup Festival. And Save-On Foods is a premier partner of the Grey Cup Festival. I'm with CEO Daryl Jones. Daryl, why is it so important for Save-On Foods to be involved in such a major way in the Grey Cup Festival?
Well, there's nothing bigger in Canada in football than the Grey Cup. It's going to be a fantastic day. We're actually hosting the Street Festival. It's going to be tons of fun. All the Canadians across Canada, come see it on TSN. Save-On Foods, so proud to be part of the BC Lions with our Kick to Win. Folks have a chance to win $1 million. Free groceries for a year. We just love being part of this league and love being part of the community.
All season long, we have seen Save-On Foods give out $100,000 in gift cards at stadiums across the country. Tell me about that program.
You bet. Well, we go to some of the stadiums, and as people come in the door, we hand them $20 gift cards, $10 gift cards. So it's fantastic. It's just our way of saying thank you to the fabulous fans, whether they be here in Vancouver, in Saskatchewan, or wherever. We just love the opportunity.
Thanks for this. Enjoy the game and enjoy Grey Cup week.
Thanks, Farhan.
Dustin?
Great partner to have on board. I worked at 4 different Save-Ons in 3 different cities. And I have to tell you, Suits, I was a young prodigy at Save-On Foods, and I wonder if I would have stayed there, would I be CEO right now? Yeah, sorry, Daryl. I'd be almost 30 years in.
Well, I'm a big fan of the deli at Save-On. You go in there, you can get a great sandwich. Nice one-hander there by Justin McInnes, getting it done.
5th catch of the game for McInnes. 2nd and 3, VA over the middle. Put some zip on that, didn't he? Hatcher had no choice but to catch that one when it arrived.
Jeffrey Canton Arku is shaking his head going back to the defensive huddle because they asked him, the D lineman slash linebacker, to drop there, and he was right on his marker, right where he wanted to be, and somehow the throw just beat him inside to Hatcher. Good timing on that throw and the right zip on it. Kenton Arku's been making plays, quietly making plays, and becoming a leader in that defense.
This time they'll hand it off right up the middle. And that's Jeshron Antwi, who was acquired from the Alouettes.
Nice when one of your top draft picks come through. Kenton Arku played his college ball at Syracuse and Memphis. There's 19 stepping in the hole, getting first contact, and has 5 quarterback sacks on the season. It's been quiet at times, and I know he doesn't get a lot of headlines, but he's one of their top players on defense.
6-yard pickup on the ground, right at midfield here, 2nd and 4. Near side, wide open. Hatcher's got it at the 45, and he pushes ahead down to the 41 before they eventually track him down with Sankey being involved.
You're going to see a secondary blitz coming from the right of your screen. That's Wesley Sutton, and when you blitz from the halfback spot from one side of the field, there's a void there. And that's where Vernon Adams throws it, because he's throwing it into the teeth of the blitz. But he knows they're a man short on that side.
Adams this time, pressure in his face, escapes on the run to his right, throws down the field. Almost intercepted, but eventually it's batted away. Beverett came in behind. He's saying he had it.
Well, he caught it.
This would have been amazing if he got a foot down on it.
Yeah, I mean, he caught it. It's just a matter of, did he get a foot down? He's saying he did, although he was concentrating on the ball. First of all, that's an unreal move by Vernon Adams, but let's see.
It was deflected.
Yep, tipped.
Then into the hands.
And, oh no, he's out. Way out.
A valiant effort.
Trying to sell. Come on, Tyrese, you've got 130 defensive plays. That's great range, though, from 26.
8 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, 6 knockdowns, 4 interceptions. Here's VA on the run. Look at him go all the way down inside the 25 before they eventually track him down, and he looks to be on his game tonight.
Yeah, I think Maddie at halftime, our Hall of Fame quarterback, mentioned that it should be noted that he has fresh legs. It's been 79 days since he started, and those fresh legs they're working tonight. Everett was on the blitz, and he was picked off. He thought he was held. They have a bit of an argument. No flag on the play.
Better argument on that one than the
better than than the inbounds or out of bounds.
BC works for the Montreal 22. Adams, time in the pocket, gets it away, and that one is batted away last second. Ento got there just in time as Hatcher was waiting for that ball to arrive.
A little bit of a pump fake to get it to Hatcher. There was a flat road here, and I think Vernon Adams was thinking about that one first. There's the flat road out here. He was thinking about that route, and then saw Hatcher sitting on the sideline, and the timing of that throw just a little bit behind, and it gave Ento a chance. A play made in the Grey Cup. Very similar place out there in Hamilton.
They'll run 4 options out to the right for Vernon Adams. He looks to the left. Now he's going to throw over the middle. He's got the ball pops out. It's grabbed and brought back the other way. Beverett, of course, he's involved, and he takes it out at the 30. What a play here with 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter as Adams puts it into the hands and out of the hands of the intended target. Beverett gets his interception. Well, this is going to go down as an interception here for Vernon Adams, but can't hang this one on him, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. Sometimes it isn't the quarterback's fault. You could ask Nathan Rourke about that last week in the very first play or second play, but first throw from Rourke that bounced off of William Stanback. But Beverett always around the football. And could we in Vancouver this year have 2 defensive players as finalists for the MOP?
There's a legitimate case for it. There's a legitimate case for both Beverett and Roland Milligan. I would agree. It was Eberhardt who bobbled that one and left it up there for him. But they're both having sensational seasons. I don't know if we get there, but there's a case for it this year.
Brady Oliveira is having a great year. I know he'll be considered, and that doesn't take anything away from even Bo Levi Mitchell, I'm sure, is in the conversation as well.
5,000 yards out, playoffs or no, that's a very outstanding season. Second and 3 for Davis Alexander near side. That time Speaker has it. He's got a first down for the Alouettes.
Yeah, just a little bit off in the timing in the last 2 series for Davis Alexander, but it looks like he's getting that back. Watch the route here from Speaker. Nice inside slant ball arrives just as he gears it down. So if he keeps running through there, he runs to the next linebacker, and then there's a problem for Davis Alexander. But that's why he chops his feet there. He doesn't want to get into the middle. Nice throw and catch.
Stevie Scott in the game at running back. Alexander down the field. Almost intercepted. Looking for Speaker again. Will you got inside and broke it up.
That's the play that Ryan Phillips wants to see from his starting free safety and Christophe Bellew. This is a 4th straight start for number 29 out of Laval, and they love him. I think that he's athletic, he's physical, he'll come down and play the run, and you know, he's learning the game from that middle of that, but he needs to make those plays, whether it's a knockdown or a pick. The next step is to pick that rather than just knock it down, but he was in the right position and made the play.
Slipped right through his hands. 2nd and 10 for Alexander. Far sideline. Julia Grant's got it. Edwards Cooper is there with the tackle, though, and that'll bring up 3rd down for the Alouettes. And Zima has to go to work once again.
You saw that graphic a moment ago that the Alouettes are 6-1-1 on the road. Best road record in the league, and 6 wins at home as well.
From 35. Bounces just inside the BC 30 on the one hop. Williams takes it. Flag on the play as he is eventually taken down. Avery Ellis in on the tackle for the Montreal special teams as Jason Moss looking for some answers offensively for his first place Alouettes. Last week, and to their top 10 pick, actually moved the ball offensively, which is rare post Brady for the Patriots. And Jacksonville about to get their coach fired. BC leading 17-0 here. 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Alouettes will send 5. Adams, far side, wide open. Berryhill has a touchdown in this game. Gets thrown down by Sutton, but not before he picks up first down and much more.
Just a real comfort level, isn't there, with Vernon Adams in that pocket? First of all, he's got some good time to throw. Chance to almost reload that one, get it out there to Berryhill, but pretty good protection up front.
Full credit to VA. He does not look like a guy who hasn't started a game in over 2 months. He's coming here and he's almost at 300 yards already late in the third quarter. He's got 5 300-yard games on the season. Works from the opposition 53. Wide open again on the far side. That time it's Hollins. Nobody within 5 yards of him.
Yeah, and the reason for that is that Hollins out there is coming out of the backfield in motion. He's going to go down the field, but Vernon Adams has to hold this ball until the deep defenders and the deep receiver can run off those defenders. He's got to hold that for a second, hold it. Let Keon Hatcher take the DBs deep, and then Hollins will open up.
That gives Adams his 6th 300-yard game of the season. Up to the Montreal 30. From the pocket again. Tackle made on the play, but Hatcher has them within striking distance. His team leading 7th catch of the ball game.
You know, the two great quarterbacks on this team, and Vernon Adams has a chance to write a really cool book. He really does. He plays like this, and they go into the playoffs with Vernon Adams slinging it like that. He could write a serious book about being a pro when a decision is made that is out of your control and waiting for your next opportunity. He's playing outstanding.
Over 300, touchdown on the ground, another one through the air. 3 options out to his wide side left as they work for the Montreal 10. Touchdown as he guts it into Hollins and turns and walks into the end zone. And BC blows it wide open, leading 23-0.
Be supportive of your teammates. Put your team first. Make sure you're ready and prepared for the next opportunity. And then when you get it, make the most of it. Could be a heck of a story for Vernon Adams.
6th touchdown of the season for Alexander Hollins. He's over 900 receiving yards on the campaign. And another quick drive for the BC Lions. Sean White makes it a 24-point ball game. 4 plays, 71 yards in just over 2 minutes.
Patience, confidence, little look to that left side. He's got a nice throwing lane there and 2 targets. He had an inside receiver as well. And now it's Nathan Rourke's turn to be the guy that is supportive, is there to help and be another set of eyes for Vernon Adams as he leads the offense, and he has got them back on track tonight. Now, I'm only going to preface it once because we've talked about Jason Moss and wanting to play a lot of guys, but there are some that aren't playing for the Alouettes tonight. It's a tough road trip, as we've talked about, to come all the way out here to the west, but take nothing away from the way Vernon Adams is playing. Mustafa Johnson's one of them, not playing tonight.
Fletcher waits, averaging 22.5 yards on kick returns this year. Moves over to the middle of the field and takes it on the 12. Back up to the 30.
That's
right up the middle. Stays on his feet. Here he goes at midfield. Gets around the kicker. Now he's down to the 45-40 and eventually runs out of room. But Fletcher, a bright spot for the Alouettes here tonight.
Well, you know, when the playoffs come around, the return game is going to be so important. Every single team has a great returner in the lineup, and they get some blocking and eliminate the penalties up front. These guys can make it happen. Fletcher's one of the best. And it's not just the touchdown return that's important. It's outstanding field position. If this is a playoff game, it's a chance for the Alouettes to get on the board, get some offense going, and get some confidence.
66-yard return on the kickoff, his longest kick return of the season. And Bahar has his first catch of the game.
Just gives you that lift when your offense is struggling a little bit, the timing off a little bit, and then your quarterback's watching the kick return, and he goes, ooh, I like this field position. Let's go out and put some points on the board. Get going here.
Find a spark any way you can. They'll hand it off to Stevie Scott. And that is, I believe, his first touch, second carry of the game. Big running back, 6'1", 222 out of Indiana. Talk about him a little bit coming up in the fourth quarter of this ball game. A ball game that has been completely controlled by Vernon Adams Jr. and the BC Lions. They lead 24-0. Fourth quarter coming up here at BC Place in Vancouver. The Lions lead 24-0, and I think Vernon Adams has done his head coach a bit of a favor here today.
Well, you know, Rick Campbell went into the week saying, look, we're going to try and get a spark by making the quarterback change. It's kind of like changing the goalie in hockey. It's the easiest way to do it, and he said from the beginning when they signed Nathan Rourke back that they have two starting star-caliber quarterbacks that are both going to be important. I think we could safely say that Vernon Adams is going to start the playoff game.
Kind of has to right now. I mean, he's over 300 yards through 3 quarters. Rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The 1 went off his receiver's hands. I think he's been excellent.
Oh, he's been outstanding. And, you know, that doesn't change any of the discussions that'll happen in the offseason, but the priority for the BC Lions and every team that's in the playoffs now is to play their best football down the stretch and taking a run. Remember, the Grey Cup is right here in BC Play Stadium.
Davis Alexander from the BC 19 trying to hit the Alouettes on the board. He'll hand it off, pushing ahead with the rookie running back. Takes it down just outside the 10. Pretty good pickup on first down for Stevie Scott.
Austin Mack should be good to go for Montreal Alouettes in the Eastern Final. Mentioned their struggles here in BC Place. If they get back to the Grey Cup, that will be a very different scenario.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll have the whole week to practice here.
2nd and 3, back on the ground again. Scott pushing ahead. He's got the first down, keeps those legs churning, and he takes it down inside the 5. Many of you might be saying, who is Stevie Scott? Well, let's get to it. Here's the resume. 30 touchdowns over 3 seasons at Indiana. Was in a few NFL camps with the Saints, Broncos, and Cards. A couple years in the USFL with Michigan, and has been around the Alouettes since early February.
Yeah, and I've noticed just in a couple of runs, nice power with quick feet. That's a great combination.
Well, back to him again. The Lions read this well. They're all over it. They stuff him at the 5.
It's been an issue for Ryan Phillips' team over the last 6 weeks on defense. Has been this BC defense ability to stop the run. They get it done here on this first down, but they're ranked right in the middle of the pack and have been dropping quite quickly. It's an area that he wants to get them taking care of their gap responsibilities and then He called it get into swarm position. Swarm position when all 12 are swarming to the football.
Second crack at it here for Davis Alexander from the BC 5. Corner, end zone. Out of bounds. No chance there for Julian Grant. There's a flag on the field just outside the 5-yard line, right where the line of scrimmage was.
Christophe Bellew came across from the safety spot to get
15-yard misconduct penalty. BC number 90. Half the distance to go. Automatic first down.
Matthew Betts takes the misconduct call. That'll move the ball down to the Lions 2. First down.
Matthew Betts is in that 4-point stance down at the bottom.
Shouldering down one of the linemen.
Yeah. Okay.
Alexander. Julian Grant, one hand. Oh, that would have been spectacular. Could not haul it in. They'll do it again. 2nd and goal.
Straight fade route from that inside receiver spot, and his quarterback gives him a chance here. You got to throw this to the outside shoulder unless it's a throw behind, and this one wasn't. Throw it to the outside shoulder so Ronald Kent can't get his hand in there and get involved in that play, and he put it right where he had to. Julian Grant just couldn't reel it in.
They'll try it again from the 2. Stevie Scott stands to the left of his quarterback. They'll give it to him, trying to push his way towards the end zone, and that will not happen. The Lions defense denies him of his first CFL touchdown.
Now, one of the turnovers for the Owls in this game tonight was inside the 5-yard line in the first half when they went for it on 3rd down. And at halftime, we were discussing with Jason Moss in a playoff game at 14-0 inside the 5 on 3rd down, it'd probably take a field goal there. But because this game doesn't affect the standings, I don't like the term it doesn't mean anything, because it always means something. But it doesn't affect the standings. He's going for it here on the 1-yard line. Now on the 1, the last one was on about the 3. Big difference.
Davis Alexander up under center. Keeps it himself. Flag on the play as he pushes it in. Does he get there?
Procedure. Montreal number 67.
Wow.
5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
5 yards, and they'll back it up 3rd down.
Now there's no way that Al Moss is going to send out the field goal team.
Altos into the game for the first time today.
Let's take a look. I think it's right. Yeah, you see the left guard there. It's a little bit early in that lean. Coach is not happy. All about leverage down there, trying to be the low man.
Altos just over 90% on the season. A chip shot here from 14 yards to finally put some points on the board for the Montreal Alouettes, who are struggling on the West Coast once again. Knocks it through. Ugh. There's the penalty. Wipes that touchdown off the board. Boss, not happy.
Regina today, up to 22 degrees. Somewhere along the line, we're going to have 19 degrees show up. Oh, game day forecast, 100% chance of us sending it. Calgary Stampeders, all right?
Well, that's going to be a big one. Trevor Harris, Sam Emilus doing the weather on their bye week. They'll wrap up the season, but
it's unreal. Okay, so the Blue Bombers win. They take first in the West. But they have to beat the Alouettes. If they don't, the Rough Riders can beat Calgary. If they beat Calgary, they're first in the West Division. I mean, it's going right down to the wire.
Riders fans will be cheering for these Montreal Alouettes next Saturday. Did you ever get called in to do the weather thing?
I think we did.
Yeah.
All of those, yeah.
I never did TV weather ever.
Well, you know, all of these teams across the league, the players are so involved in the community. I mean, whether it's charity, children's hospital, all of those things, they are big time. We probably don't talk about it enough. I mean, these guys will leave practice, go straight over to the kids' hospital, meet all the kids, bring some hats and stuff, or they go and they have some fun on the local TV stations. And oh yeah.
2nd and 10 here from the BC 40. Adams down the middle, inside the 50, down to the 40, and another big pickup for Hatcher, his 8th catch of the game, and that will put him over 100 yards. This is his best game of the season.
Little look off to the middle of the field, kind of try to hold the safety in position. That's Dequoy that's actually turned and run with the deep route. Accuracy from Vernon Adams tonight's been bang on.
It's a follow-up on the weather thing.
Yeah.
So I'm from Alberta. I don't use an umbrella very often. I like the walk from the hotel. So I walked down today in the rain with an umbrella, but I think it was broken. So my jacket was still wet. My bag was still wet. I don't know if I hold an umbrella properly. I'm not used to it. Okay, look at this carry down to the 20, another first down.
Okay, well, I'll help you with that because I have a little experience in the umbrella department. But they're no longer just rainstorms. They're now cyclones, and they're, what do they call them, like atmospheric explosions. And
yeah. It's coming from everywhere. The rain was coming from everywhere. I thought, what's the point of this umbrella?
Yeah, it rains here in Vancouver. This just did.
I know. I know. I got here yesterday and somebody's like, you bring a jacket? It's like, no, I didn't bring a jacket. I'll just tough it out.
See who's down here. This is always the concern at this time of year, for sure. Another big boy.
That is Kent Perkins, right tackle for the BC Lions, chatting with their athletic therapists.
Last play, Kent Perkins is going to pull around here and get locked in with Darnell Sankey, and he goes down right away. Maybe something tweaked in his neck or a stinger. Nice run off that side from Jeshurun Antwi, the former Alouette.
Pearson will slide in at left guard. Looked like they moved Corey Woodruff out to the right side. Montreal lost their right tackle earlier in the game. Josh Donovan, he was on crutches at halftime. Keep tabs on Perkins. 9.5 minutes to play. Vernon Adams is at 368 yards through the air as he gets the starting quarterback job back from Rourke. They'll hand it off this time straight ahead. Another good run, back-to-back good carries for the former Montreal Alouette, Jeshurun Antwi.
Yeah, it really is. And again, like Sean.
Holding. Number 51. It's a 10-yard penalty, still first down.
It's going to come back. But like Sean Thomas Erlington, I think he's one of those guys that, you know, at tailback, when getting this opportunity to get some playing time, this penalty will take this run off the board. But nice little cut right there. That's Dylan Wynn. One-on-one. That's always a nightmare for any offensive center.
Three options, wide side right for Vernon Adams. Looks that way. Now on the run. Throws to his left. First down again as he goes right back to McInnes, who's been heavily involved today. Sorry, not a first down on the hold and brought it back. Got back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and that's usually the goal offensively. When you get that holding call, the one thing you want on first down when the down is repeated is to at least get the penalty yards back and give yourself a chance on second down. And that's what this throw and catch will do.
McInnes is just a couple yards away from a 100-yard game. He's got 4 of them on the season. His high, spectacular 243. 2nd and 8. Adams, couple of pump fakes. Now dumps it off over the middle. Won't be enough for the first down as he finds Eberhard in the middle of that Montreal defense.
Bring Sean White out there, and he has been money all season long. With 3 made field goals tonight, he could break a club record. And remember, the BC Lions had Louis Pasaglia as their kicker for all those years, who was at the Hall of Fame thing tonight.
I think there's a Hall of Fame in the future for Sean White as well. Leads the CFL all-time in accuracy. This one 18 yards. And no problem. Sensational season continues. Tough day here in Vancouver as the TV industry lost our dear friend and colleague Dan McLean. Dan was a longtime technical producer here in Vancouver, working the Lions, Canucks, Whitecaps, and Grizzlies games. He passed away after a courageous year-long battle with cancer. Our deepest sympathies go out to Dan's family and friends. It's been a nice start to the career of Davis Alexander, getting an opportunity to start a few games, and he's a perfect 4-0, the first Montreal quarterback to start their career in that fashion. For more, let's send it down to Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, Dusty, 3 years ago when he was just breaking into the CFL on and off the practice roster in Montreal, one of his biggest influences was Vernon Adams. And one time after a late night, Vernon spoke to him the next day and said, listen, I believe they're going to trade me out of here, and they believe that you are the future of this franchise. So you have got to make some sacrifices, and this is how you need to behave like a professional. Vernon told me that he thinks Davis reminds him of a younger version of Vernon Adams. He said he's athletic, he's raw, and he's hungry, and he believes he can be great in this league. The two men have maintained a relationship over those 3 years. They text weekly. In fact, VA provided Davis with 10 tickets among the 26 that he has for tonight's game. So making sure that, the young guy doesn't have to spend a lot of money here, but he does believe that Davis is destined for greatness.
Well, it's nice to have a guy like Vernon Adams. He was in Montreal from, 2016 to 2022. Nice guidance as you break yourself into the league.
Yeah, no question. And a chance to, sort of have him as the mentor, and in situations like that where your leaders, 26 tickets needed, friends and family, but when your leaders have slightly different standards, higher standards than the rest of the team, to make sure they're leading by example. And he didn't miss any meetings or anything. It was a night where Vernon Adams said, hey, we had fun, but you got to take control and take charge. And I think that was an interesting story that Alexander shared with us. And I'm with you. The offseason will be an interesting discussion with a lot of different quarterbacks, certainly this team. But, I can't say enough about Vernon Adams' leadership, not just when he was going through the last month and a half, the last 79 days, but prior to that. I mean, I've said this story before, but I think it really is important that if you're a young quarterback, you want to be a leader of your team, you know that Vernon Adams helps with the equipment staff when they come home from a road trip. He'll take the bags and take them to the laundry and help out. Like he brings guys in the offseason on his dime. And that's, I think, was Matt's point at halftime or before the game. Can't remember where he said it, but he said, it feels like it's Vernon Adams' team right now, and we've discussed that. That doesn't change, I don't think, any of the discussions in the offseason that people are sort of looking at. But there's a priority right now, which is getting on track, which they're doing tonight, and getting ready for a playoff run. This is the Lions' last regular season game.
Nice way to head into the postseason. Right now, leading Montreal 27-3. Davis Alexander pushing ahead. Should be enough for a first down. Needs to 50.
And if you're a Lions fan and you're looking at a team that's finished third now, is going to finish third, and they can't improve on that, and have to go on the road to Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. Not sure the order yet, but they're going to have to go on the road to Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. Can they beat both of those teams in the playoffs?
Far side, another completion. That one, Tarambo.
And when you're thinking about the last game against Saskatchewan, a 39-8 loss, you know, but, you know, we won't know where the semifinal is or the final until the end of next week. But there's their head-to-heads against Saskatchewan Winnipeg. That last loss against Saskatchewan was probably the worst, one of the worst of the seasons for the Lions, which they've bounced back from tonight. But they can do it. 2000, they did it. Different team, different look.
Their wins,
but it's possible.
Their wins against the Riders and the Bombers this year came in that stretch at the beginning of the season when Vernon Adams was slinging it around.
Back in 2000, it was Robert Drummond and Sean Millington. A 1-2 punch in the backfield. That's the Grey Cup in Calgary against Montreal. Damon Allen, the starting quarterback in that one. So it's possible to go from the 3 seed and win it.
Into the hands of Stevie Scott. And he's got a first down for Montreal. I'm interested on the other side of this from a Nathan Rourke perspective. What can he gain from this experience now as he sits back, likely watches VA start a playoff game in a couple of weeks, knowing that, you know, he's got a contract here for the next few years and will be the guy very likely next season for the Lions?
Well, you know, let's remind folks that in 22, in essentially 9 games, Nathan Rourke was averaging 372 yards passing per game. He led all quarterbacks in the playoffs in the 2 games they played that year, losing in Winnipeg. Was the outstanding Canadian, only the 3rd quarterback to ever win that award, and was on pace for over 6,000 yards. He will regain that level of play. I have no doubt in my mind that he will regain that. So to answer your question, what is Nathan Rourke going to do now? He's going to support Vernon Adams as the starter, and he's going to do everything he can in his power. This game will humble you. I don't care how good you are. I don't care what league you play in. It will humble you quickly, and how you handle that is important. And again, I'll emphasize this in a big way. These 2 quarterbacks have made this work, or could make it work, with a playoff run because of the way they've handled it. They've handled it as team-first pros, both of them, Vernon Adams and Nathan Rourke.
3rd and 1 here for Alexander. Quarterback keeper right in the middle. Look at him go down to the 20. He'll get it to the 15 and slide at about the 12. And the family in attendance for Davis Alexander. That's his mom in the toque there. Happy to see her son out on the run.
Well, and I love the cheering was very automatic. It was like, oh yeah, well, we've seen him do this many times. We're just cheering him on, and that's why he's going to be of interest for a lot of teams, I think, in the offseason.
3rd trip to the red zone today, 0 for 2 thus far. A little bit of a draw to the running back, and Scott pushes it ahead 5 yards on that first down pickup. I know we've got the playoff. We've got another week in the regular season. Then we got the playoffs. Then we get the Grey Cup. But I am, as an I love the off season and movement. I'm very excited for Montreal. A bit of a quarterback carousel shaping up here in the Canadian Football League off season.
It's been a weird year with the quarterbacks. I mean, how many true starters have been benched? You know, not because they were injured. Cody Fajardo was injured when he missed 4 games, but across the league, I don't think I remember a year, at least not in recent memory, where a whole bunch of starters in the league were benched because the offense needed a kickstart. They needed to try and shake things up.
One of those guys ended up throwing for 5,000 yards this season.
Absolutely. Levi Mitchell.
Yeah. So there'll be quarterbacks available in different stages of what you need depending on your team, which should be a lot of fun. Davis Alexander, 2nd and 5 from the BC Lions 7, looking for their first touchdown of the day. And that'll be down close to the 2. Gang tackled on the plays Tyler Sneed. There was room here for a first down to be picked up by the Montreal Alouettes.
Where they're marking it,
that will be a first down.
Yeah, it will be a first down. Short yardage time down there. I think they're on the 1 or 2 yard line.
That will take us to the 3-minute warning here at BC Place in Vancouver. Alouettes looking to find the end zone for the first time today. They got Davis Alexander in at quarterback. All right, Davis Alexander tasked with trying to find the end zone for the Montreal Alouettes. This is the 10th play of the drive that he has put together. He's 11 for 16, 76 yards. He's got a couple of rushing touchdowns himself this season. First and goal from the BC2, trying to push him ahead. Did he find a path through? Does not look like it. Got him down to the 1.
The type of game where offensive coordinators could get real innovative, real imaginative, just throw in some just weird plays so that the opposition in the playoffs have to take time out of their practice schedule to prepare for it.
Second crack at it here for Alexander. Pushing over the middle, trying to push ahead. That initial push did not look like it was enough. And now the Lions are saying they took it away. BC Lions defense, Rugamba among others. Now BC's defense, we talked about the offense trying to find some momentum. BC's defense would love some themselves. Let's take another look at this. What happened here?
Gumbo's coming off the edge. I don't think he pulled the ball out, but the ball is sort of sitting in the pile. Davis Alexander lost that football early in the process here. He loses it right now. There it's out.
Ben Hladek. I think Hladek batted it down and out.
Smashed it out of his hands.
And the Alouettes held out of the end zone once again. Chase Bryce into the ball game. He's been sprinkled in a little bit throughout the season. And he'll just hand it off right up the middle. A little bit of breathing room here for the Lions as Jesseron Antwi. Well, I'll be interested to see. So we look at the playoff picture. We know BC's going to be third in the West, and they're going to go to Regina or Winnipeg. That'll be sorted out next week on Saturday. Winnipeg goes to Montreal, where Jason Moss is not going to like what happened here. Like, Jason Moss is going to want to probably get the Alouettes sort of back on track after what we witnessed tonight, which might not make things easy for the Blue Bombers, as some people might expect.
Well, yeah, it's never easy. That's for sure. But despite the positioning, but yeah, and remember though, what will factor into that for Jason Moss, even though he is, and we saw the frustration while you were talking about that, Dustin, with Jason Moss, but he also will consider that he lost Josh Donovan.
Yep.
The right tackle in a game that didn't have any bearing on the playoffs. So that will also be part of the consideration. Again, coaches in the Canadian Football League just cannot bench everybody. There's a couple of guys that if you're a little bit nicked up, you can rest them. Austin Mack is an example. But
Justin McInnes with that last catch over 100 yards. So now both Hatcher and McInnes over 100 yards in this ball game. First 100-yard game for Hatcher. He's playing in his 11th game tonight. McInnes has 5 100-yard games this season.
But we'll call it an experiment to make a change at quarterback from Coach Campbell has turned out very well for the BC Lions. I mean, Vernon Adams lit it up tonight. That is the story of tonight's game. He has earned a start in the West semifinal.
He will go to 6-3 on the season in his 9 starts. If required, he would have thrown for 400 yards. He's thrown for 393, and they took him out here at the end of the game.
But it was his processing time. It was his accuracy. It was, you could tell the entire team had that jump in their step. It did provide the lift that Coach Campbell thought it would. I mean, just tremendous accuracy tonight. Great confidence in a lot of those throws. And one of the interceptions bounced right out of his receiver's hands.
Answering on the far side against his former club. Stays in bounds and slides in midfield.
Now, if you're a Montreal fan, you don't have to be overly concerned about this one. You really don't. And I'm not taking anything away from this BC effort, both offensively and defensively, because their defense, look, there's 3 points on the board.
Yeah.
The defense played one of their best games of the season.
And the BC Lions into victory formation here at home, where they will finish 6-3 at BC Place this season. They have a bye next week to wrap the year. They will sit back on Saturday and find out if they will be going to Mosaic or Princess Auto Stadium for their playoff game. Montreal, first place wrapped up. Moss obviously not going to be happy with a 27-3 loss, but still a outstanding season for the Alouettes. They will return home and try to play spoiler for the Bombers' pursuit of top spot in the West.
It'll be interesting to see how Jason Moss handles that next week. It really will be, because you know he doesn't want to go into the East Final losing the last 2 games of the regular season. You know, and so I'll be very interested to see. And it'll start at quarterback. I mean, does Cody Fajardo start in that game? Yes or no?
And if you think, and played a whole half today?
If the answer is yes, we know that Jason Moss is wanting to go into the playoffs on a strong.
If the answer is no, you'd be starting Davis Alexander, who's 4-0 this year.
Yep.
So they can certainly win with Davis Alexander as well. But the BC Lions making a change at quarterback, and it pays off tonight at least, and they have some momentum heading into the postseason. Vernon Adams Jr. gets the job back at quarterback and goes 27 of 37, 393 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, mixed in a rushing touchdown as well. And it leads for tonight. The BC Lions find their swagger as they wait for the postseason to arrive. 27-3 the final. That's going to do it for us. Good night from Vancouver.
Some 3-down football for you. It's like there was 3 seasons in one for the Toronto Argonauts. The first 9 games without QB Chad Kelly, then the return of Kelly and the weeks it took for him to get back up to speed. And now it looks like Kelly is fully back, and with that, so are the Argos. They had a chance to lock up second place and host the Eastern semifinal with a win over the Red Blacks on Saturday afternoon. Red Blacks Argos, Chad Kelly threw for a career-high 463 yards when he last faced Ottawa in Week 14. Toronto up 14-zip to start the second quarter.
Inside the 30 to start the second quarter, already up 14. Kelly going to work again. End zone, touchdown! Just like that.
Kelly connects with Deshaun Brissett for the 29-yard TD. Kelly starting the game with 9 straight completions and on the next Toronto possession. They are rolling. Toronto scored 4 touchdowns on their first 4 drives of the game. Kelly a perfect 12 for 12 to start, recording 3 total TDs while throwing for 238 pass yards. Argos up 28-6. But let's skip to the 4th. The Red Blacks still down 18 with under 3 minutes left. They elect for the onside kick. Kenny Oyeka recovers for Ottawa. Red Blacks coming in having lost 4 straight. They need to win their last 2 games of the season to have home field advantage for the East semifinal. Now in the red zone, Drew Brown. He finds Justin Hardy for the touchdown. Ottawa add the 2-point conversion to make it a 10-point game. Gotta love the CFL. So the ensuing punt Red Blacks once again going for the onside kick. And they are successful for a second straight attempt. This time, Jalen Acklin comes up big for Ottawa. They'd make the field goal on the resulting drive. Red Blacks scored 25 points in the fourth quarter alone. Argos were up by 22 at halftime. That's the first time I've seen pinball not look happy. All right. Now, with just over a minute remaining, Red Blacks looking for the onside kick hat trick, but this time kicker Lewis Ward skies at Argos finally gained possession and would hold off the late charge to take it. Toronto will host Ottawa in the East semifinal.
Man, that's not the way we want to finish the game. That's not how we play ball, man. That's not how we attack. That's not how we tackle. Man, we got to be way better than that if we want to win.
You know, our team has a goal, and we still have that goal ahead of us. You know, I think it would be foolish of us to be discouraged and go in to that with that opportunity ahead of us because we've played a couple times. You know, I look forward to it. I'm excited. See how we respond.
All right, Lions making a change at quarterback for their final regular season game. Vernon Adams Jr. getting the nod over Nathan Rourke, taking on the Owls. It's Adams' first start since August 1st, and on the very first play from scrimmage, he airs it out for Justin McInnes. Good for 43 yards, and then a few plays later, it's Adams running it in himself. BC entered 5-3 with Adams starting the season. They led 7-0. Still in the first, Adams looking for more. And here's the data-enhanced view.
Games ago, didn't have a lot of success.
Adams again, down the field, lays it out there, got to the 5 to the end zone, touchdown!
A 52-yard strike to Stanley Berryhill. You can watch the data-enhanced feeds for CFL games on TSN+. A Nickelback lead singer, Chad Kruger, enjoying this one with a beverage, of course. BC up 17-0 at the half. It's still 17-0 late in the third quarter. Adams finds a wide-open Alexander Hollins for the score. Adams over 300 passing yards for the 6th time in 9 starts. Rourke did it just twice. Glenn Suter and Dustin Nielsen ready to make the call after the third quarter.
I think we could safely say that Vernon Adams is going to start the playoff game.
Kind of has to right now.
Well, Adams wasn't done. Fourth quarter, now 24-3. He goes over the middle for Keon Hatcher. That's a 33-yard play. Adams finishes with 385 yards through the air and 3 total touchdowns. Lions take it 27-3. So here's a look at the standings through Week 20. Toronto's win over the Red Blacks ensures their rematch in the Eastern semifinal will go through BMO Field on November 2nd. Ottawa is reeling. They've lost 5 in a row. Over in the West, everything is set except for where the Lions will play the division semifinals. They're locked into the 3rd seed. They will be on the road against either the Blue Bombers or Rough Riders. With more, let's welcome in Laura Dykin in the panel.
And we've got Milt Stiegel, Matt Dunnigan, as well as Enoch Mwamba. And our doubleheader on Saturday featured both of the 3 seeds. With Ottawa losing to Toronto, they'll finish 3rd in the East. We knew the Lions had locked up the 3 seed in the West last week. Now we know as well that both of these teams will have to win 2 games on the road if they are going to play in Vancouver and that Grey Cup a month from now. So between these 2 teams, you got the Red Blacks, who've lost 5 in a row. You've got the Lions. Who do you like? Who has the better chance to make it to that Grey Cup?
I like the BC Lions, Laura. I like BC Lions. I just think the BC Lions, the best BC Lions are better than the best Ottawa Red Blacks. I mean, even throughout the course of the season, they had a lot of adversity that they had to overcome, obviously including the quarterback controversy. But when you put Vernon Adams the way that he's looked the last game that they played, and if he's able to play like that throughout the course of the playoffs, he can give this team a chance to go to the Grey Cup. It's just going to be difficult for the Ottawa Red Blacks to go to Toronto and then Montreal. It's hard for me to see that, and it's hard for me to believe that, Matty.
Enoch, this is a tough question.
It is, man.
Tough question on so many different levels. Look, I think VA, you got to have a guy. And I think VA is that guy to give that team the jump, right? And but then you look, he's got Saskatchewan and Winnipeg's defense to face, right? It's like tough,
in the cold,
in the cold. And then you got Drew Brown. He's got Toronto and Montreal. Two other tough defenses that are getting after it right now. And can he overcome the road trips? I just think with a veteran quarterback like VA back in the helm and in control of that football team, I think he gives them a better chance just based on experience. Now, the competition is tough either side, but I got to go VA as well, Enoch.
Yeah, I'm excited about my old coach, Bobby Dice, getting the Red Blacks back into the playoffs, first time since 2018.
You're sucking up now.
VA. It's all about VA. You know, that guy, when he's on, there's no one better in this league.
Ooh.
And I'll say that with everything I have. There's no one better in this league. I said this at the beginning of the season that he was going to be the MOP and win the Grey Cup. I'm not saying that now, but since we're asking this question, it's not close for me. It's VA. And Drew Brown, I think he's going to be good in the future, but we've seen enough out of VA to say that he can get his team to the Grey Cup. Yes, it's going to be a tough route, having to go to Saskatchewan or Winnipeg first and then the other one after that. It's going to be a little bit colder than what it is, you know, in the dome. But when he's on his game, he's a special player, and it has to be the BC Lions because they have Vernon Adams.
All right, we went 3 for 3. Maybe it wasn't that difficult a question then,
No, it was difficult. It was difficult.
It wasn't difficult for me.
It wasn't difficult for me. Team going for it, right?
It wasn't difficult for me.
Ottawa a chance.
I'm just giving BC a lot better chance. It wasn't difficult.
You got to have a guy. And not saying Drew's not. I'm just going more experience in that team and the way he affected that team, and I just like that team moving forward.
Last time the Red Blacks were in the Grey Cup, you mentioned it, 2018. It's been a little bit longer for the BC Lions, 2011. But, of course, they would like nothing more than to play in that Grey Cup in front of their home fans.